And hello now once again, and perhaps I apologize. I've done no preparation, no script or anything for this, and I will probably only do one take. And in the words of Flossie Carter, these products, I can tell you right now, they are a major go. Now, if you don't know who Flossie Carter is, he's one of my favorite high-tech technical reviewers on YouTube, and he has a little cat that's called White Shoes, and the cat walks around and causes nothing but mayhem, and the cat's called White Shoes. And his channel is brilliant, and for some reason I always love copying Flossie Carter. He says this is a major go, and it's great. Anyway, there's a link to his channel down below. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about USB-C and USB chargers. Now, straight away, anyone is going to say, hold on, you only have Apple chargers, you've only got the Apple bricks. And I'm starting off with the 140 watt brick, and the reason I don't have a box for that is because this brick came with the MacBook Pro. But I do have the 61 watt brick. I think now Apple's, I think they've updated that to 69 watts. But this is the 61 brick, and this is the box that it comes in. And here we have the 35 watt brick. Now, what's interesting about this, it has two outputs, and it's either a 70 watt brick or two 35s. So that's very interesting, that it is sort of the same power as this one, but it is smaller because I think they've used the GaN technology in this. But what they've done is that they've halved it. And so it's the same power, smaller, but we have the two outputs. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. And then we have an older brick that is 30 watts. And the box is much smaller than these boxes, but that's because of what was installed. This brick was purchased in France, so it came with a French plug, but it actually occupies much less space in the box. Hence, it's why the box is smaller. That's literally the reason why. This would be the same size as this box if it wasn't for the UK plug simply occupying more space. And I suppose by taking these plugs off, I'm alluding to one of the things that I do like about these plugs. And if you are an international traveller, what Apple have done is that they've really, I think, their design engineers and their planners it's probably worked into their design engineering. What they have, I believe, is a solution for the international traveller. Well, it's something that I really like. So I'm going to take the French plug off that. Well, that is France and Europe actually. So that plug is going to take you to is going to take you all over Europe, and countries that have the 2-pin European style. This is a very common plug, and we have the British plug. But the minute you take those plugs off, everything becomes very standard, and I shall do that with the other two so you can see what's going on. And let me put that one there. And so now the plugs are off, the brick, you can see, has become something that yes, it looks like it's very standard, very uniform. Now, also being USB-C, as a lot of people really appreciate the fact that everything's gone USB-C, because in effect you end up with only one connector, the USB-C. Now, this is a data connector but also a charge connector, and what makes the USB-C plug so usable is that the actual connectors on the inside can operate up to 100 watts, which for most laptops, for small electronic items, the power that you can get down these cables at that voltage is going to be absolutely fine. So that's why. And also you've got up to 40 gigabytes of transfer speed with a USB connector and protocol. So that's why the USB situation, especially for someone like me, is very desirable. Now, I've alluded to why I like it. Now, of course, someone could say straight away, but why not just have a single brick and put an international adapter plug, fit it into the plug, and of course that is a very good solution for many people. And I'm quite surprised that Apple hasn't actually produced a plug that that has the adapters all built in. But maybe they've thought about it, and maybe this is the route that they've wanted to go down. So it's why we've got the brick that will attach to all the different plugs depending on what territory you are in. I'm in often the British, European and US, and I've just thought to myself, I don't have the US plug with me. And the US plug is probably the nicest plug, because it's even smaller than the European, and the pins fold in, so that the US plug is actually the best. The UK plug, I think, is one of the worst because it's very large. Now, I say that there is one positive to that. Because it is so large, it means that there's lots of purchase on the plug socket, where the American, that happens to be the smallest, has the least amount of purchase on the socket. And that can be a problem, especially if you are using the larger 140 watt plugs. This, with an American plug plugged into the wall, often is going to fall out, especially if the plug socket isn't a new one. Where in the UK, even with old plugs, the old British plug connector here is quite able to always support the plug unit itself. The American one, even though it is the smallest and fits nicely into that space there, it is the weakest when it connects to the wall. So that's something, it swings and roundabouts really. But you can see that having the American plug probably is the tidiest looking thing. Anyway, for me, having to only think about 1, 2 and the American plug, but mainly these two, these are the two plugs that I use most of all. It means that I only have to really ever think about carrying these two with me, unless I'm somewhere and I know I need more than one power source. Now that takes me on to what Apple have done here with this 35 watt dual output. For me, I am thinking, Apple, please stick the latest technology of this into the mid-size plug and give us two outputs here. But then, what will those outputs be? I suppose it would be the same as this, so why not just get this, because essentially this is the same power as this, as I understand it. It's just that this has been halved, so that is interesting. But I suppose if we go to the 140, if we had this split, we would end up having two of these inside here. So I imagine that could happen, because there are times when you want two good sources, but maybe not, and maybe why Apple have thought this is perhaps the most usable plug. And that's going to bring me on to why I think this exists. And that is because these days the only plug that I take with me actually is the 35 watt, the two 35 watt output. That and that is the only plug that I take with me, because that will power any Apple laptop, even the largest MacBook Pro 16-inch, that will power. It'll power any portable device like an iPad or an iPhone, or for example, it will power a portable Bluetooth speaker. In fact, any smaller electronic device this is going to power. The only thing it won't power is the hardware that normally has a plug socket. So Mac computers, iMacs, and things that are that would naturally look that naturally wouldn't have a power supply like these. So this has become my object, my power source of choice. I also use this because it has two outputs to charge up things like microphones and camera equipment, things like that. But this definitely has become, I think, the best one. So perhaps why that is available, in a two output configuration like that. So you might think to yourself, well, do you need the other plugs? Well, you do actually. Well, you perhaps don't need all four. I actually use all four because one of them is plugged in to charge up a laptop. The other one charges the same laptop but in a different room. I actually use these two. Because this is almost half the size of that. Actually, I haven't noticed that it takes double the length of time to charge up the laptop, to be honest. But what I tend to do is, when the laptop has a lot of peripheries plugged in, like older hard drives and other bits and pieces that need power, I tend to use this because the laptop itself is getting all the power it needs to charge up and then power all the ancillary items. When I'm using the laptop to watch movies and maybe for some quiet audio in the background, I know that this is going to be absolutely fine. But saying that, even the 30 watt, this will power up the laptop, and it seems to do the same job as this one, but it just charges up, if it is flat, for example, slower, so it's more of a trickle charge. Now, technically, if time isn't an issue, there's a bit of an argument to say, well, why don't you charge the laptop up with the smaller plug? And that is exactly what I do. I normally, when traveling, I'm charging the laptop up with this, and the other socket might be to charge up the iPhone. But you can also just plug the iPhone into the laptop, charge it up and sync that way, or you've got a spare a power supply for something else. But remember, the laptop actually has four outputs, or it has three USB outputs. You really do have this extra output that has been so useful, even though if you're using a laptop to power things, you can just show it into the laptop. And again, this is why this USB plug has, it really is a progression that I think is in the right direction, because it means that you only really have to carry around one or two cables. This is Apple's USB-C to USB cable, and I can literally use that cable for everything, so having a couple of these is jolly useful. Actually, I think what I might do is I'll bring up the proprietary cable for the laptops. This is the MagSafe 3. And of course, this plug goes into everything. So once again, I can use this cable with any of these plugs. And because it's plugged into the power supply to the laptop, it means I do have my three USB connectors available on the laptop. And that really is a very helpful thing. This cable and the new laptops that have the MagSafe 3, that is so cool. And it does make me think, I wonder if things like portable Bluetooth speakers could start adopting this power supply. Wouldn't that be cool, the MagSafe 3? Although I imagine the licensing on the use of this, probably wouldn't make it worthwhile for them. But this is a great charge cable, it really is. I know that I'm a little bit off topic there, but anyway, this is a great cable. But what I am illustrating is the usefulness of USB-C chargers. And if I take that and 2 of those, I can charge up every object that I have in my possession. And it makes it very easy to pack, because visually you can see very quickly that you've got everything that you need. Often I have that, I have 2 of those, that, and these 2, and I know that I can go anywhere in the world, well, anywhere in Europe and the UK, and this is all I need in terms of power and cabling for my laptop and cameras, all that sort of thing. Right now, today, all my cameras, mobile phone, etc., have USB-C. So all you need are these about your person, and you know that that's going to power everything up. Anyway, if I put the cables back down there, let's get back to these bricks and power supplies. Once again, look at the size of these boxes. The only reason that they are thick like this is because they house the British plug, and you can see there's a bit more space needed inside there. And if I go back to this little one, it's the same thing. It simply requires less space. So that because once again, it just occupies less space in the packaging. I mean, maybe Apple, what they could do is make one of these and have several connectors, maybe Europe, the US and the UK all together. Perhaps mechanically the UK plug is the nuisance because it's so large. And again, the only good thing about the the UK plug here is that it has lots of purchase, in walls, and which makes it, good. And that's the only negative for the US plug, is that because it is smaller, if the plug is old, this brick, for example, tends to fall out of the wall. I mean, you can try plugging it in this way, and maybe the weight distribution isn't as bad. But anyway, that I'm sort of shooting off topic there. Once again, the reason I don't have the box for the 140 is because this came with the laptop. And but I wanted to say, I know that power supplies and bricks, how boring, but this is how geeky I am. For me, I'm not really. I find it very interesting, and these things do aid my quality of life, enable me to be productive and get on with things. So I actually do find it very interesting. But if I have to choose one of these things, it definitely is this one, because of the 2 outputs and the fact that they will power up and charge up slowly the largest laptop, which is probably the biggest small electrical device that Apple has, and other manufacturers, because of course the beauty of USB-C is that it's standard across everyone these days, and it really is a good thing. Anyway, there is my quick review of power supplies, USB-C, and bricks with the plug adapter system, with Apple's plug adapter system. And for me, it works very, very well. And I simply thought I would show you like this. Anyway. I hope everyone is well. I do apologise, I might have missed something, but hopefully I've captured enough there, and I hope everybody is well, and when I get chance I'll make another video. Anyway, bye for now.